I've been asking a lot of fighters and guys who used to fight. What do you think of the live judging in between rounds, seeing what the score is?
Open scoring. I mean, it's got a lot of thoughts. Listen, this is an experiment, so none of us really know it's going to be a hindsight. I personally kind of like the drama. I like the suspense and finding out. One thing that we don't see in MMA very often is stalling. And if we ever put an athlete in a situation where he realizes I no longer need to beat my opponent, I just need to beat the clock, we're going to start seeing things that happen that we're not going to love. I mean, Floyd Mayweather, by example, Sugar Ray Robinson, by example, those guys don't go forward. They only fight going backward. They fight running away. Well, if two guys both run away, it's not much of a fight to see. And I would just tell you, I think it's an experiment. I tend to cling to the old a little bit more. I kind of like the way it's done. But I do hear why the athletes are saying it, saying, hey, you've got to let me know. And athletes are saying it from more of an exciting, more of an aggressive standpoint. They're saying if I'm behind and I know I need a finish, I'm going to go out and try to get one. That's true. But if the other guy knows all I got to do is run out the clock, I don't know. We'll see. It's an experiment, but I think there's an argument on both sides in fairness.
Yeah, I'm wondering what I would want to know if I fought. Would you want to know the score? Like when you were fighting, would you want to know? Like the drama for the fans, you're right. But when you were fighting, would you want to know, especially if it's a 5-round fight, would you want to know what's happening by, say, round 3 or round 4?
Well, I will offer you this. If I did know, it would change my strategy. It would make me go, okay, I've got to clinch. I've got to push him here. I've just got to stay out of this. He's coming at me like a bull. I got to be a matador for a little bit. Not everybody's mind works that way, but some guys, and you asked me to personalize it, I would use that in my favor, which would be to the displeasure of those watching.
Sure. I feel it would be anticlimactic. I can't talk, Chael. It's okay. Anticlimactic. I feel that, people see, all right, this guy won 4 rounds. Let me get in the parking lot before all these other people. And nobody's listening for the speeches. Let me just after the post-fight speeches. I think it's going to be, I know what I like. I like people feeling something. How about that? Even if they're pissed off. Sure. I like the next day at the water cooler, people going, do you believe that fucking decision? It's not a bad thing. It's good to hear when they announce that when you're waiting and they know what they're going to take away from us, that moment of us waiting, he had to win. No, of course he won. He didn't win, or he won. Of course you want that. You want that.
For
I'm
sure.
telling you. You're not going to know what's gone.
I had a conversation with an executive director one time. We just ended up on an airplane next to each other and made conversation for a couple of hours. But I did ask them, hey, why don't we do open scoring? I'm not for open scoring necessarily, but what is the reason why? And they said, you know what? You'd be surprised. It actually doesn't have anything to do with the athletes or the audience. It has to do with human nature of our judges. If we post their scores and the crowd reacts in a negative way, them being a human being is likely to then try to do it the way the crowd wants it for the next round as a way of evening it out. They said we see it all the time. We see a fight going on that's totally normal. The crowd starts to boo. The referee hears the boo, steps in, separates them, and pulls them up. We have too much human nature with our own officials. That's the reason internally we keep it quiet. It has nothing to do with promoters' wishes, athletes' wishes, or the fan in that dramatic. We worry about our referees and officials not being objective.
Right.
That makes the most sense I ever heard. That's should have started with that. That's fucking good, Chael.
I accept that answer too, because Matt, that's a very real thing. We've all seen that. You can start to influence a referee who does have that human element and just wants to be like him. It's a very real thing. It's people judging people.
See it all the time. With them standing them up too soon, breaking them apart from the cage, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it. That give me Keith No Nonsense Peterson, or let the guy.
He really doesn't care what the audience is doing. Keith does not give a fuck.
I mean, they got their code, and they stick to it. They don't get influenced. Yep. The son of a pro.
I agree. Right. I agree. And Matt, I think that is a little bit you and I talking from the old school, and Jim, you being an original fan, because even when we went to the round system where every 5 minutes we're going to redo this, for some of us, that was a little bit of a problem because we were kind of more into wherever this thing goes, it goes. Nobody gets let up. They have to work their own way up. And I don't know that that was the best system either, but I do remember when the new system went in place, there was a little bit of, hey, wait a minute, that's not as realistic. If this is truly to find out what's most realistic, that's questionable.
Yeah, and I don't know how I'd feel about it if I was fighting too. I mean, your answer is good that, hey, I would change the way I fought that the 3rd round or the 5th round if I knew that all I had to do is kind of stay away a little bit and I had it. So I just hate seeing. I mean, I'm sure everybody hates seeing guys get robbed. And that Jones Reyes fight annoyed me so much. And there's been a couple of fights. There was 2 in Houston, and there was a couple other ones that just drove me so crazy. I'm like, this guy trained for all this time, and then to get robbed so blatantly of at least a fair decision, or a fair shot by the judge. For someone to see that 49 was a 49-46. I mean, it's like that's just got to drive you crazy as a fighter.
And nothing happens, by the way. That's what the more frustrating thing is. Nothing happens when some of those scores come in. One of the ones that was most blatant in my own eyes was the night Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather. There was 10 seconds left in the first round before Floyd took a fist and moved it in a forward direction. Floyd openly threw that round away, openly told the media afterwards I was feeling him out, openly said he had a power, he was a little bit weird. 3 out of 3 judges gave that round to Floyd Mayweather. One judge over the course of 9 finished rounds, one judge gave 1 round to Floyd. I sat and watched that fight side by side with Teddy Atlas, who is the most respected mind in American boxing. He gave Conor 4 rounds. The judges were setting up to rob him. Nevada did nothing because it didn't go to that. What's it matter? It didn't go to that. Yeah, but your judges tried to get it to go to that, and they gave every round to Floyd when Floyd himself said, I threw the first round away.
Yeah, really, the boxing, it's what ruined boxing for me. Like, I couldn't watch boxing anymore, and it wasn't necessarily that fight. It might have been Alvarez Triple G, the first fight. I just can't watch boxing anymore because the judging is so bad. I can't enjoy it feeling like at least the guy that won the fight is going to get the decision. I turn me against the sport.
Sure.